Back to Action 2 News at 6. St. Norbert College faculty passed a no-confidence vote against President Lori Joyner. That motion passed 66-11. In the resolution drafted by staff, they say Joyner's administration has seen massive enrollment declines, financial challenges, and an erosion of trust from all parties. The decision comes more than a month after the college recommended cutting 13 academic majors and trimming staff. The vote pauses those proposals for now. Faculty ended the resolution, calling on the Board of Trustees to find alternative pathways for the staffing and financial cuts. Action 2 News obtained a copy of the response to the vote from the chair of the college's Board of Trustees. They say they're disappointed in the faculty's vote and, quote, "This vote unfortunately adds to the misguided and misinformed campaign attempting to diminish President Joyner's efforts and trust in her leadership. We stand firmly with President Joyner, and we urge the community to see the bigger picture and the progress we have made under her leadership," end quote.